One thing I've realized after working with hundreds of male business owners, the drive-thru is never really the problem. The reason why the guys are going there isn't because they truly want to be there. Naturally, your energy is low, you've had stressful meetings, you've been bouncing here and there between clients, mentally overloaded throughout the week, and you've got no structure with your food. So right there and then, it just feels like the easiest option that is going to actually relieve stress itself, so you don't actually have to think about what to have. So the drive-thru becomes the far easier option. And that in itself is the area that doesn't truly get addressed with men. Because they just look at the surface of, oh, the drive-thru is the problem, yet they don't understand why it's happening prior to the actual event. I have experienced that myself, so I know fully well of what is truly going on, because you've got 1,000,001 things on your plate. You've got so many decisions to make on a daily basis. Meetings might be overrun. You're here, there, and everywhere for your clients. Stress is building throughout the day, but you've got more decisions to make, more things to actually get done within the week. By the time the end of the day comes and you've got this mental load on you, it's literally like you just end up going to the drive-thru because it's the easiest thing to do, because you can't be asked to go and cook a meal or grab a healthy option from a supermarket. You just end up really frustrated with yourself of like, why do I actually keep doing this? To compound that mistake, I made another mistake on top, and I see this with other guys that I speak to on a weekly basis as well. I kept blaming it on, oh, I'm just not disciplined enough. I'm just not trying hard enough. I learned the hard way that it wasn't actually a discipline problem, because as business owners, we don't have a discipline issue. You've built a business, you've got teams, you're taking on massive responsibilities. And the real issue behind all of this was I was trying to live with my health reactively, trying to do everything in the absolute moment, because I wasn't organized and I didn't have a structure in play that allowed simplicity to happen. And then become a forced effort, and that in itself, trying to force effort is very, very tiring. And you're trying to move business forwards every single week. It becomes very tiring on top of that. So there's no wonder why I kept crumbling, and the guys that I speak to on a weekly basis are facing the same issue. Most guys I speak to on a weekly basis are just living reactively throughout the week. Food decisions are happening within the moment. Training gets squeezed into the week, and if it is squeezed into the week, then it's not done properly, because they'll be sat on their phones, still trying to work, scrolling, and not actually being intentional with what they're doing. Socials aren't actually planned into a calendar weeks and months in advance. Actually just end up falling off track, and you then have to restart again every Friday. And you just end up in this constant cycle of on, off, because you've got no control behind what you were doing. It's all just very reactive. It all requires decisions within the moment. And even though it might be stemming into the weekend off the back of a business week, you still have that fatigue, you still have that mental load carrying with you. So every time you try and do it in the moment, it breaks. When stress rises, it breaks, because it's another decision to make. As business owners, we can't be operating health reactively. We need to have it in a controlled, structured way. And this is exactly why so many men feel stuck in this on and off cycle. Because within the week, the drive-thru isn't the problem. Drive-thru is just a symptom. The real issue is the lack of structure, the lack of energy, making decisions within the moment, and not actually having control of your training, of your nutrition, of how it actually looks across each week. And as I'm getting older, and the more and more I'm coaching these guys, the highest performers and the ones that truly get the best results, they aren't living reactively. They reduce as many decisions as humanly possible. So therefore, eating, training, moving, staying hydrated is very easy. They don't have to think about it. It's already there. They know exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it, where it needs to be done. And when you do that, it then becomes automatic, because you don't have to think about it. It's just happening. That creates momentum, and momentum creates results. That's why I always say, most guys I speak to, you listening to this right now or watching this right now, you don't need more discipline. What you need is more control, better structure, and less decisions to make on a daily basis. Because when you have those three in play, it becomes far easier to execute on. And where this starts is before the week even gets going. So every Saturday or Sunday, you know what's happening across the following week of what you're eating, when you're training, where your social events are, and what your actual minimum standard is. Not what you think you should be doing, but what does reality really say? And what does that then look like in terms of your training, your nutrition, your movement, and your hydration? Because when it's paired up to reality, you're always going to win the game. There's never going to be an on and off. You've always got momentum. You've always got that consistency because you have placed control before the week has even started. Because here's the truth. When you have far better structure in your lifestyle, you always deliver better execution. And that's how every single male business owner will build a better level of energy, body, confidence, and performance. The goal is never to be perfect. The goal is to become the guy that is super reliable even on his worst weeks. If this episode has resonated with you, drop me a message below with the word food and I'll send you over the exact framework that I use inside BTU with the guys to make sure eating on the go becomes far easier when you're operating within your business.